Todd, you've had the I don't know 48 hours now to look back. How will this season register with you? How will you remember it? I've always heard coaches say each season sort of takes on its own personality and memories. How will this one be sort of slotted in your brain?
We've discussed this, I think, leading up to the last couple games, regular season games. Disappointment in whole with the season, just because we didn't attain our goals. First goal is you got to make the playoffs. You have your goal to win the Stanley Cup, but in order to do that, you have to make the playoffs, and we didn't do that. So it's disappointing from that standpoint. There's some positives in there as far as how we finished the season. I think there's positives in how our young guys played. Our power play was a positive. So there's things to be excited about over the summer. There's things to be excited about leading through the fall and up to the start of last season. It's, you guys asked me about bittersweet, and I guess it is. It leaves you with that bitter taste that you didn't get your goal, but there's some good feelings in there with certain aspects of our game.
The players want a captain. Does the coach want a captain as well? Would that make your life easier? Beyond just having to answer the silly questions from the media?
Things that we talked about previous to this year and previous to not having a captain was, making sure it was the right choice, it was right for the team, right for the organization, and sometimes you're waiting to see too. And I think we've gotten to that moment, or close to that moment. And I think having a captain, does it alleviate some things? Is it a cure for all the problems? It's not going to, just because you name somebody, it's not going to cure. You still have to deal with problems and issues, but it does signify something, and it can help in a lot of areas.
Todd, Brad Larson joined your team this year with the season behind you now. Can you comment maybe on what he brought to the team or your impressions of working with him?
Brad was great. He was great. It's exactly what I expected. Coming in, a hard worker, passionate, good communicator. The things that I have known about him, just working in summer camps and spending time with him during training camps when he was coaching down in Springfield and meetings with him. And then you get into interacting with him here on a daily basis, and it was everything I expected from a coaching standpoint. And the other thing I learned a lot about him was just more the personal side of Brad and the family man. And so there's a lot of things to respect there with Brad and how he conducts himself both at the rink and away from the rink.
Obviously, with as many guys as you had coming in and out of the lineup this year, was it easier this last month and a half to sort of implement some structural things with your system, knowing that you'd have the same lineup in each night, and does that kind of carry over into training camp in any way?
It should. We made a couple tweaks systematically in how we played. It wasn't anything major. Players adjusted to it. I think the biggest key for our stretch run was just we had the same guys in the lineup for the most part, and we had a lot of our guys in the lineup, and so you had personnel-wise, you were better, and then just consistency. I talked about consistency kind of all year, and when you have injuries, it's tough to have that consistent game. I needed to do a better job in that area, maybe just to maintain or sustain, so the consistency part, so we didn't have the major dips that we had during the year. But I think it was just as simple as just being healthy, and as a coach, it was easier because I didn't have to really make any adjustments to the lineup. It was just same lineup, guys are playing, and I think the guys developed some chemistry and there was some confidence and able to play four lines, and we were able to have some success.
It seems like over the last couple of years there's been a tendency with this club to not play its best and desperate hockey unless they're backed into a corner, unless there's a real adversity in front of them. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but how do you sort of channel that approach and mindset maybe at the start of the season rather than responding to a negative situation?
I think you're right on, Porty. It's something that we've talked about as a group. In individual meetings talked about it. Might be different with each guy, but we've talked about kind of our attitude at the start of the year. I've been here for 4 years. You know, obviously, as an assistant coach, my first year I had a lockout, and then 2 full seasons. And really, in those 4 years, we've been at the bottom the first 2 months of the season. And you know, 2 years we were able to. 1 year we were able to dig ourselves out. The other year we almost got out of it, and the other 2 years you weren't able to. And for me, is it physical? Are guys coming in? I don't think that's it. I think it's our attitude and our approach, and having that focus. Now, there were some things that happened this year which I do think affected it, and I'm talking about injuries because it is reality. But we needed to find better ways to just maintain and not, as I said earlier, not to have the major dips. Because when you have injuries, we might have injuries next year, and you got to find a way to keep, you know, stay afloat instead of sinking. And that's what happened this year. And we started to get back towards the surface, got our heads above surface, but it still wasn't enough.
So was this your most challenging season of your career in terms of just having some adversity that never seemed like it was going to end at times?
It was challenging. It's hard for me to look back and say if this was my most challenging year, but it was. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself. Learn a lot about others. Adapt, change, a lot of different things. You have to. I don't believe you learn as much when you have success than when you do failures, because you really have to look at yourself when you're failing. It's easy. You wake up each morning when you're winning, and you come to the rink, you just kind of do the same things, and you leave and you win again. I think when you're losing, or you've gone through it, you really have to look at yourself and the things that you've done and areas that we need to be better, both from a coaching standpoint, player standpoint, organizational standpoint.